ladies? You're ready. All right. Let's do it. Susan, you and Laura, you ready? Testing. Yes, this is on. Can you hear me in the back? Thank you. Good evening. Welcome to this political forum. We're glad to see all of you here tonight. My name is Ronnie Perry Sharp, and I will be your moderator this evening. Tonight's candidate forum is featuring District 26 seat Oklahoma House of Representatives, District 3 County Commissioner post. Also, we are going to get the privilege of hearing from the candidates running for District 23 judgeship. Now, due to their regulations, and I'm going to read them right off here, they can only come up and speak to you for 5 minutes because of the Code of Judicial Conduct prohibits judicial candidates from discussing many issues. They are invited to give a 5-minute presentation, visit informally with those at the forum. Both have already accepted the invitation. But I wanted you to understand it's because of their judicial code, they may not accept questions. This political forum is being presented by PAVE, and you're saying, what is PAVE? Well, let me tell you, it's Pottawatomie County Advocates for Voter Education. PAVE is a nonpartisan voter education group that began locally as a chapter of the League of Women Voters. I'm sure you remember that. At this time, though, I would like to call on our Vice President, Susan Morris, who will lead us in our pledge.
Thank you all for coming tonight. Position, salute, pledge.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you. One last thing, I would like to recognize the PAVE women. They put a lot of time and effort into each one of these forums. So, would our PAVE group of women, would you please stand? Let's give them. Thank you. This forum is designed to give you the opportunity to be more informed and involved in the races ahead. On behalf of PAVE, thank you for tuning in tonight because this is a live broadcast and turning up tonight. PAVE would also like to thank the City of Shawnee, the City Manager, and this forum can be seen on VIVE Channel 3. And I think it'll run more than one time. It'll run a couple of times, so you'll have that opportunity. At this time, let's go over our ground rules and procedures. Each candidate will be invited to make opening remarks limited to 3 minutes each, and a closing statement limited to 2 minutes each. After opening statements, the forum will be open to written questions from the audience. Questions will be issue-based, and all candidates for the same position question will be given the opportunity to respond. Responses to questions are limited to 3 minutes each. No rebuttals will be allowed. Workers will screen questions, which they have already been doing in advance, to eliminate duplications and inappropriate questions. Questions may be combined if they address the same issue. Candidates will receive notification of expiration 30 seconds prior. Also, let's go over the judgeship. We are going to begin with District 23 judgeships. We're going to ask both of these candidates to come forward And at this time, I want to tell you, it's because of the Code of Judicial Conduct prohibits judicial candidates from discussing many issues. They are invited to give 5-minute presentations. So at this time, will my two judge candidates please come forward?
While they're coming forward, I'm going to interrupt Ronnie's train of thought. I want you to look at our nice little 3 lights that we use to time. We have a go, green light for go, a yellow light when time is almost out, and a red light to stop. And our Lori made this for us to use.
We keep telling her she needs to get a patent on this. I think it'd be a very popular item.
Parts by Amazon.
Parts by Amazon. Oh, that's funny. Okay, you see these? These are so cute. These were our straws that our candidates, I think these are Lori's grandchildren, their grandchild straws, but they took those tonight. And the person going first, guess what? We are going to hear from Tracy Snotterstrom. And so I did not pronounce that right. And I have been practicing all day and asking everybody, how do you pronounce this? I even went and asked her. Anyway, you get to go first. 5 minutes.
Thank you. Thank you, ladies and gentlemen, for being here. Thank you, PAVE, for putting on this forum for us tonight. Thank the Shawnee voters and the Potawatomi County voters that are tuning in. My name is Tracy Soderstrom, and as you know, I'm running for district judge for Lincoln and Potawatomi County. A little bit of information about myself. My husband is here, David. He and I have been married for 27 years,
Wow.
Going on 29 years together. We have 4 children, Laura, Sarah, William, and Lily. Mr. Dobry happens to be my son-in-law, but that's okay. We love the same
There you
people.
go.
Thank you very much. I have been an attorney practicing for 19 years. I've practiced in 38 different areas of the law across the state in 22 different counties. I am licensed in the Oklahoma Supreme Court, the Western District, the Eastern District, the Northern District federal courts, as well as the U.S. Supreme Court, and I have practiced in front of the U.S. Supreme Court as well. And you're asking yourself, why am I qualified to be the district judge for Lincoln and Potawatomi County? To give you a little bit of information about what the district judge does, both in Lincoln and Potawatomi County, is the district judge helps the county commissioners with running the courthouse, as well as is the chief judge in the county. The district judge in Lincoln County, which is the seat that I'm running for, happens to, at the present time, handle the civil docket, the probate docket, as well as the felony docket. But the district judge also has the ability to reassign cases and handle any type of case that's filed within the county or within the district. Those 38 different areas that I told you that I've practiced in have been everything from administrative court issues to appeals, all the way to zoning and quiet titles, and 38 different areas in between. I have practiced criminal law, I've practiced juvenile law, I've practiced domestic law, I've practiced probate, and I've practiced just about everything that you could possibly imagine. I also run a firm where I have, at the present time, 7 employees, which is important because the district judge in Lincoln County, as well as in Potawatomi County, assists with hiring the bailiffs. They assist with reviewing the contracts for the Oklahoma Indigent Defense and approving those, as well as setting policies in the district court. And so I have ran a successful business, I have ran a successful practice, and I've done that for 19 years. And I believe, based on those qualifications, that I'm the best candidate to run for and be the district judge for District 23. Now, a little bit more information about myself. I'm a veteran. I spent 6 years in the Oklahoma Army National Guard. I met my husband there, and we've been married, as I said, 27 years. Currently, I have 6 attorneys in my office. I have 3 other staff members as well as 3 additional subcontractors that I work with. I have been in every county around Lincoln County. I've practiced in Lincoln County for those 19 years. During my time as an attorney, I've represented more than 125 children that were in DHS custody in Lincoln County alone. Half of those were pro bono, because I believe it's very, very important to protect our children. Now, one of the reasons why I'm running for district judge is I believe that it's very important to follow the law. Point blank, simple. Judges are not here to make law. They're not here to change law. We are here to follow the law. And if the law is not being followed, then it's the judge's responsibility to ensure that the parties that come before them are doing just that. I also believe that it is important that every person that comes before the court is treated with respect, is treated fairly, is treated with dignity, and is treated with compassion, because each person that comes before the court is doing so probably in the worst times of their life. And they don't want someone that is going to be judgmental. Obviously, the judge's job is to judge, but not be judgmental and disrespectful and mean-spirited about it. And so I've practiced in front of judges before that have done that. It was not a good thing for my clients. It was not a good thing for me. And I want to make sure that we continue to maintain the integrity and the congeniality that we have in the district court in Lincoln County. I would appreciate your vote on November 8th. Thank you.
You have just heard from Tracy Soderstrom.
Thank you.
I got it. Yay. Thank you.
I'll get you a sticker.
Okay. At this time, we will hear from Joe Dobry.
Thank you, Ronnie. I appreciate that. Thank you to all of the folks that are here. I want to thank you, the PAVE organization, for putting on this forum. It's a good opportunity for information to be provided, and it seems that a judicial race is one where there's an especial need for information, because it seems to be the sort of race where everybody has lots of questions, and because of the rules, the heavy restrictions upon judicial races, there's a lot of information that cannot be discussed by rule. My name is Joe Dobry. If you've seen the Joe for Judge signs, I am the Joe on those signs. I've had many people tell me that their name is Joe also over the course of the campaign. I am married. My wife's name is Laura. We have 2 children, Ella and Kara. Miss Soderstrom is my husband's, my wife's father, and Miss Soderstrom is her stepmother. Her mother is Dawn Evans, who's also a very nice lady in her own right, who's been Citizen of the Year in Chandler for many years, and I would hate to let the night go by without complimenting her on her many years of service in Chandler. I am local. I was born in Chandler. At one point in my life, it would be hard to say this, but I am actually the oldest candidate in the race. I'm the only candidate that's running who's over the age of 50, and as shocking as that may be to me at this point, it's true. I think I've been practicing law for approximately 10 years. I practiced for 2 years in Shawnee from 94 to 96, and then I was approximately in Chandler for 8 years when I first met the Soderstroms. So I've been practicing law for nearly 30 years. During that time period, I have practiced in many different areas of the law. The district judge's responsibility is to handle primarily the felony cases, because those go to the district judge for disposition. Those are the most important cases that come before a court, because they're the most serious offenses. In the course of the almost 30 years I've been practicing law, I have served as a prosecutor, in which I have prosecuted crimes, felony crimes, and misdemeanor crimes, everything from murder to traffic citations. I think there's a lot to be said for the judicial process It is a deliberately slow process, a necessarily slow process to safeguard and protect the rights of all individuals who come before the court, to make sure that their rights are protected and that both sides are fairly and impartially heard. In the course of those 30 years, I have also done major civil litigation. I have done a heavy area, and I've done a lot of cases involving probates. I have done criminal defense. I also have a statewide license, although, as you might imagine, where one's office is located is primarily where their resources are concentrated. For example, I've had a case that I recently filed within the last year in a quiet title suit in Atoka County, but because I practice in Atoka County does not necessarily make me an Atoka County lawyer, but I have also practiced statewide. I am admitted to practice in the Supreme Court of the state of Oklahoma. I am admitted to practice in the Northern District of Oklahoma, the federal court for the Western District of Oklahoma, and the federal court for the Eastern District of Oklahoma. Now, during this time period, in many years in the past, I also did divorces. I do less of those now. I was also involved in many juvenile cases over many years involving deprived children who were removed from their homes by the Department of Human Services. I have been involved in cases involving delinquent children. I actually prosecuted that docket as a prosecutor for some time period. I have also dealt with cases in which individuals are in need of mental health services. So I have done practically every area of law that is heard by the district judge in Lincoln County. In fact, I'm the only candidate who has any prosecution experience at all, and I think it's important to bear in mind that these are very important cases that require experience and thoughtfulness and judgment, and whenever you go in front of a judge on a felony docket or a civil docket or probate docket, the judge is hearing all of those cases. Well, as a prosecutor, I was prosecuting all of those cases on the felony docket and the misdemeanor docket, not simply presiding over them as the judge does in those cases. Thank you very much. I'd appreciate your vote November the 8th. Have a blessed evening.
You have just heard from candidate Joe Dobry. These two candidates, let me remind you, are running for District 23 judgeship. Thank you.
Thank you, Ruby. Appreciate that.
Thank you, Ronnie. Have a nice evening.
Thank you, Joe.
What is your age?
49.
Do you ever sleep?
No.
Okay, who is next on our,
When I'm dead.
okay. Are we doing, what race are we doing next? County Commissioner? Oh, she's not coming. No. County Commissioner race. Eddie can sit to my left. Eddie can sit wherever he wants. Eddie, where are you? There you are. Do you want to sit to my right or my left? Okay. You're so easygoing. Okay, Eddie, you have 3 minutes opening, and if you don't know, he is our County Commissioner, District 3, and I will go ahead and say your candidate did not show up tonight.
Dang.
It's all yours.
Okay. Well, everyone, thank you for having me, especially PAVE. Ladies, thank you for having me. My name is Eddie Stackhouse. I'm the current County Commissioner in District 3. I've lived in Southeast County for 51 years. I am 52 years old. I graduated high school in 1989 from Maud and started working for the county in District 3 in 89. Since 89, I've met my wife, Casey. We got married in 08. And then 2012, I did run for County Commissioner in District 3. I'd won. So, and then since then, I've got my certification in the County Commissioning certification from OSU. I have completed my Rhodes Scholar program through LTAP. And then we just keep
I'm
going.
proud.
Yeah, I mean, and then, we just, that's it, thank you.
Well, that's outstanding. Okay, let's go straight to these questions
Oh,
for
boy.
you. He gets questions, yeah. He gets questions, the others didn't. They're not privileged. All right, if I can read this handwriting. Okay, Eddie, when provided with evidence of financial impropriety by the former DA's office, why did the county commissioners fail to request a forensic audit of DA's office finances? Do you need me to repeat?
Yes, ma'am.
All right. When provided with evidence of financial impropriety by the former DA's office, why did the county commissioners fail to request a forensic audit of DA's office finances?
We just didn't. I mean, I'm just one of three. But I had no clue. I mean, it wasn't brought to me, I don't think.
To your
So-
attention. Well, let's move on to the next question. Okay. It has been said that the county commissioners had the legal authority, okay, here we go, to remove the former DA from office as recommended be done by the grand jury indictment. Why did you and the other commissioners fail to remove him as recommended by the grand jury? You're gonna
I
have
did
to
not
answer.
think we had the power to remove him. I mean,
I have no idea.
I have no clue.
Okay. This is gonna go real short. You've got so many. Get ready. Yeah, just forget the timer. Okay. The next question. Why was the public comments portion of the commissioners' meetings removed from the meetings? And will you commit to having public, this is going upside down. Reinstated during the meetings, the public comments, will you please?
All right. The
Can you-
public meeting, the public comments was removed from our agenda item. It was a board decision. And yes, I think the public has the right to voice their opinion. And I think that public comments needs to be added back to our agenda. But I think we did comment during our meeting that if a constituent or anyone that lives in the county needed to be on the agenda, we would put them on the agenda. And I think I have done that and showed that. But in my opinion, I'm just one out of three again. I think public comments needs to be back on our agenda to have the people speak their concerns.
You're hearing this live tonight. It will be recorded. So you can hold him accountable. County Commissioner, all of you, which one, having the county cleanup days have been helpful, and I'm thankful for those, to help control the other trash dumping in rural areas. Could it be possible to have some dumpster availability on a more frequent basis?
Yes, we have two county cleanups a year, one in the spring, one in the fall. But and we could actually have dumpsters set at each yard would be a good idea to have just sit there, and constituents need to bring trash, not household, but just hazard items, like refrigerators, they want to set them out, but they have couches, chairs, mattresses, that's the three main items that's usually dumped on the side of the road. I think it would be a great idea if we had dumpsters set at each yard.
Tell me those again, what's normal?
Couches, recliners, mattresses, refrigerators and washers and refrigerators, they usually get picked up before.
That gets your whole house full, huh? For you young people that are on a limited budget. Okay, I don't need to be funny. Because I'm not. County commissioners must interact with all other county offices. Which do you know the most about, and which will you need to learn more about?
I say I need to learn more about the sheriff's office. And the county clerk's office, probably know more about the county clerks than the rest of the office. The assessor's office is interesting. That'd be a pretty neat office to learn about. But the sheriff's, I'd be more intrigued to learn more about the sheriff's office.
Well, you certainly need to work together.
We
Yes.
do work together. We have a good crew of officials in Potawatomi County.
Great. Okay, this is just rolling along. Are you familiar with the county budget process? With which items do you have the most expertise?
I'm familiar with the budget. I took classes and courses in the budget. It is a tricky situation in the budget, but the calculating the mills and all that, we hire all that done through a firm. So, but as far as the budget, it's I can tell you the numbers was good for us this year, and it's going to be good. But we had some other OMMA permit fees that was added into it, so we were up. It was like 7.3 this year from 6.8 from last year. So
Oh, that's
the
significant.
requesting from all the officers, they received what they were requesting.
Okay, ready for your next question? What experience have you had building roads and bridges?
That's an easy one. 33 years experience building roads and bridges. We've started, when I first was elected, I worked 23 years before I was elected. Once I got elected, we have 5 motor grader routes. We had 5 graders. We purchased our own chip and seal machine, our own distributor truck. I have a fleet of trucks. I got 20 employees in my shop. We do our own chip and sealing. We do our own asphalt. We have a laydown machine. But since I've started chipping since 2012, I average between 10 to 15 miles a year. Now I'm down to 3 motor graders, 3 routes.
Wow.
Motor grader costs you $750,000. So I'm saving taxpayers
You're
money
saving money
over the long end.
for us. Wow. Okay. How do you plan to communicate with your constituents?
How do I plan on communicating?
Uh-huh.
My business card has my cell phone on the back of it, and anytime it rings, you can ask my wife. It'll be a Saturday or Sunday. I answer.
Thank you. All right. What steps will you take to ensure you will be available in an emergency situation such as a tornado or flood? I think you just answered that.
Yes, ma'am, and we do have cell phones that are, they're satellite phones. And then when we're in an emergency, our new emergency manager has got these for the 3 commissioners. Once we are in like a code red, when they're high alert on storms,
Yeah.
we issue, our emergency manager issues us those phones. So it can communicate. When the cell towers go down, we still have communication.
I need one of those. Okay. All right. Not least but last.
Okay.
It's your last question. The last time you ran, you said, gosh, no dust and no mud in your district. What did you do to follow through with that? Will you be doing more roads?
That is the same as I said earlier. We have purchased our own equipment, self-sufficient. Yes, I've done over 110 miles of chip and seal since I've been in office. I've done probably, I'm going to do a rough estimate of probably 50 miles of asphalt. So that's from here to the city and back almost probably. So yeah, it's ongoing progress that we're doing, just improving District 3. And
Does
that's
your
what-
wife get to see you each evening?
Well,
Where's
I
wife?
still got home chores I got to take care of when I go home. Feed the cows and
That went on record too. That went on record. Okay, Now it is your time. You have 3 minutes to close out if you'd like to say more.
Yes, like I said before, I got 33 years' experience at this job, on the road and in the office. I want to thank my wife for standing behind me all this time. So I think the experience matters. Let's keep this ball rolling and let's keep making District 3 great. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, ma'am.
You have just heard from your District 3 County Commissioner now, Eddie Stackhouse.
Thank you. Thank y'all.
Okay, well, we have District 26 seat Oklahoma House of Representatives now. Well, candidates, not representatives. You may approach. I need a water. Do we have one bottle? You brought your bottle of water, didn't you? Dale, we've got you up. Yes, sit right there. And let's see, in this, we need to get this up. We need to get this up. Thank you. Okay, and you drew straws, and it looks like Gregory Harden is going to go first. We will now hear from candidate Gregory Harden, running for District 26 seat, Oklahoma House of Representatives.
Thank you to PAVE for putting this on, and thank you all for coming out. These forums are usually the highlight of my, election watching each year, so to be able to be a part of it's really interesting. So thank you. I'm Gregory Harden. I've lived here in Shawnee my entire life, 24 years. I am a product of Shawnee Public Schools, and I'm also a substitute teacher. I'm going to school to become a history teacher, and I also have a YouTube show where I interview politicians of both parties, and that's the reasons why I became a teacher and why I have my show is because I want to help people and inform people about what's going on, tell them about their history and about what's going on currently in their government. And that's also why I decided to run for this seat, is because I want to inform people and help people's lives and improve the city that I grew up in and the state that I grew up in. That's pretty much it.
Thank you. You have just heard from candidate Gregory Harden. And now we will hear from candidate Dale Curbs.
Well, first off, I want to thank everybody coming out today. I want to thank PAVE. It's always great to see the ladies out and working. I get to work with several of you throughout the community on different organizations. My name is Dale Curbs. I'm the current representative for House District 26. I've been married for 22 years as of last month, so give my condolences to my wife. You also do that as well. I recently told her, decided I thought after 22 years I'd make the challenge and say, it's time to embrace your failures and your disappointments, and she came right up to me and gave me a big old hug. So, but I have two wonderful and beautiful daughters. I have a one that's at OSU. I cannot say go whatever, but she's in the audience because I'm a graduate of the Boomer Sooner University on the South Side. So my second daughter attends high school at North Rock Creek Public School. So very proud of both of them. So I will say go Pokes, okay? Make you happy there. My mother is in the audience. Could not do anything without my mother. Love her to death. She's been a rock and a solid foundation for our family. Even after my father passed away, she got right in, stays. Both my daughters look up to her, and she is just rock solid. So appreciate her on that. A little bit about myself. I'm a small business owner, first and foremost, on the Coney Island, downtown Shawnee. I also serve as a board member for Safe Events for Families. Have been there for many years with that. Also am, again, like I said, is the state representative currently. So that kind of gives you a little bit about me. I've been in the community for as long as my opponent has been alive and a few years more. So, 26 years I've been with Shawnee. I've been very involved in all the community aspects of it, and look forward to the questions that folks have and moving right into it. So with that, Ms. Ronnie?
Thank you. We will move right into it. Mr. Harden, you will go with the first question. There is much concern about teacher shortages in Oklahoma. What do you see as causing this problem? And as a legislator, what specific programs and actions will you implement to help with the solution?
So we need to be raising teacher pay. Part of the reason why a lot of people I know who started school wanting to become teachers whenever I started a few years ago, they decided to change their majors because they knew that they weren't going to be able to afford to live in this state once they graduate. And if they do graduate with a teaching degree, they can go to Texas and get $15,000 more starting out. So we need to start doing that. We also need to make it more affordable for people in general to go to college and be able to get a degree. We need to also just encourage people to also just not demonize teachers so much, because I hear a lot of that going on, and I don't understand why people are liking of teachers when everyone had a teacher whenever they grew up that they liked and that respected them, and might have even been one of the handful of people that respected them and liked them as a kid, that gave them the willingness to do what they want to do now in life. So, yeah.
Thank you. Same question goes to Dale Curbs. There is much concern about teacher shortages in Oklahoma. What do you see as causing this problem? And as a legislator, what specific programs and actions will you implement to help with the solution?
Well, it's a great question. First and foremost, the teacher shortage in Oklahoma is not limited to Oklahoma. It is a national shortage of teachers, first and foremost. But what we have worked at in the state, and I'll speak specifically on the last 6 years that I've been in office. Many of you are aware we had a nice teacher walkout, got to visit many of the teachers in the education system throughout that time frame. We also, during that time, voted on one of the single largest pay raises in teacher history, long overdue. You've heard me say that. We also followed it up the following year with an additional teacher pay raise. Last session, we also voted for an additional teacher pay raise for mentoring teachers to continue working on that progress. Currently, we talk about teacher pay, and we always want to compare it to Texas. I have family that taught here in Oklahoma, that moved with the husband's job, and she teaches in Texas, in the state of Texas. And I can tell you right now, she would make more money in the state of Oklahoma with her package than she would in Texas. We like to compare what Texas says they're paying, and I'm going to use the example my opponent used, at $15,000 more. The difference is Texas does not pay for their retirement, does not pay for their health care benefits. So currently, as of today, in Shawnee, America, a brand new teacher will get a benefits package and salary that is in excess of $57,000, starting pay raise. Don't believe me? call the HR department at Shawnee Public Schools. So as we continue to work towards that, additional things that happened this last session, we added the scholarships for teachers that are going into education into the colleges. I fought tooth and nail to make sure that OBU was included because the original language had private institution or private colleges not in that equation. I fought, got that into the bill, and now OU is accepted as one of those for those teachers that want to go into the education system. They have that opportunity for that scholarship to be available.
Thank you. This next question, this goes to Dale Curbs. Do you stand by your yes vote for HB 4327, a Texas-style abortion ban containing no exceptions for rape and incest, which allows private citizens to sue anyone who performs an abortion or anyone who aids and abets anyone who performs an abortion?
The answer is yes. I am pro-life. I do not excuse myself from that or any way, shape, or form. We have a job to do as human beings, is to protect the life of the unborn. It is not an exception. It's not a rule. It's not a social movement. It is not anything but to protect the life of the unborn.
Would you like to respond, Candidate Hardin?
Yes, so I'm pro-choice. I know that most of the people within the district are pro-life, but I know that with being pro-life, there's exceptions to that most people I know agree with, which is life of the mother, rape, incest, and you voted for bills, Del Curbs has voted for bills that don't have those exceptions, and that's a little bit too radical for me and probably most of the district as well. And I know I've had conversations with plenty of people who are Republicans who are pro-life, and they don't really agree with that, and they think that's a little dangerous for Oklahoma. So, yeah.
Moving right along, our next question, we will start with Candidate Gregory Hardin. What is your view on the state of mental health and substance abuse services in Oklahoma? What specific programs and actions will you support that could improve those programs?
So I think that we need to be making it more affordable for people to be able to access these things. We also need to be building more healthcare facilities within rural Oklahoma so people can be able to go to these facilities and receive treatment. I'm in favor of Medicaid expansion, which we got that, I want to say 2 years ago, and I feel like that's also going to help out with helping us maintain the mental health capacity that we already have open currently.
Thank you. Dale Curb, same question. What is your view on the state of mental health and substance abuse services in Oklahoma? What specific programs and actions will you support that could improve these programs?
Excellent. We have a mental health issue. We all are aware of that. This last session, during special session, specifically with the ARPA monies that came down, which is American Rescue Plan money that came down, $1.9 billion was entrusted in the state to divert out. We moved over $400 million of that specifically to Department of Health and DHS for mental health issues. We also, in some of that dollars, is the Griffin Memorial Hospital in Norman, have asked for a total revamp, gave the money to make sure that that's taken care of. Also to help build up the Veneta facility over there, as well as in the OU medical health side, made sure that they had the money to build their facility specific to children that will add 72 beds for children with mental health issues. So to say that we haven't done anything or that we're not is disingenuous. Again, like I said, that's $400+ million there. We also moved money to start with rural hospitals to make sure that rural health care is getting what the constituency is getting what they need to get to help continue to support those efforts. We are a long way from where we need to be, but we are a lot closer than we were. Some of the things that are even happening in our own community is our local law enforcement and city officials just secured a grant just shy of $350,000 to help start working on mental issues. That just happened, so that you'll start to see those kind of things to help with the homeless situation that we have and work through that progress. And I am very happy to say that they have done that and are continuing to do that. And we're also talking with them to make sure that the dollars that are available that we just moved to those departments, agencies within the state, are going to be available for them to have access to and work so that we can put a true dent in mental health issues.
Thank you. Next question will go to candidate Gregory Harding. Governor Stitt has proposed a managed care system which would partially privatize Sooner Care. Critics say that this plan puts profits over health care. What is your opinion on this proposal, and how would you approach this issue as a legislator?
So, yeah, it does put profit before the lives and the health of people. I'd rather we just have, a relationship between someone's doctor and their care, and that be it. There shouldn't be a private company standing in the way of someone being able to get the care that they need, and yeah.
Thank you. Same question to Dale Curbs. Governor Stitt has proposed a managed care system which would partially privatize Sooner Care. Critics say that this plan puts profits over health care. What is your opinion on this proposal, and how would you approach this issue?
Well, on the governor is welcome to propose anything he wants to do, but it doesn't go through unless he has the legislative support on both the House and the Senate to make things happen. We've had this discussion and this debate many a times with the hospitals associations and talked about many of avenues to make sure that we are getting the best efficient dollars to the people that need the help and not to the third-party companies that are trying to come in and do those kind of things. We've worked with the hospitals on a shop rate, which is a self-imposed tax on the hospitals, benefited just our hospital alone. Very proud to say we took our hospital from, they were bringing in roughly about $4 million with the change through the state, and working through that process, they now have access to $11 million just in Shawnee Regional out here at St. Anthony's. So very proud of that. So we are making big strides in that and continue to do so.
Thank you. Next question will go to candidate Dale Curbs. Since no court has supported the former president's claim that the 2020 election was stolen, how do you deal with Republicans who claim that it was?
Well, everybody's entitled to their opinion. We've moved on. Joe Biden is the current president. So, as far as I look at that, we can debate and say whether it's stolen or not, but what I can tell you in Oklahoma is we have one of the most secure election systems in the country. We are looked at by many of our states, many other states of our system. And I'd put our system up against any of them as far as fraud. So with that, I'll say Oklahoma is by far the best, and we'll just let it sit at that.
Thank you. Same question to candidate Gregory Hardin. Since no court has supported the former president's claim that the 2020 election was stolen, how do you deal with Republicans who claim that it was?
It's just a difference of opinion. You can't really argue with something that you can't prove did or didn't happen. I'll also echo what Representative Curb says. Our election system here at Oklahoma is one of the best in the country, very secure, and no one should be afraid that their vote won't matter or won't be counted properly here in Oklahoma. So please get out and vote.
Next question, and we will start with candidate Gregory Hardin. Governor Stitt has notable disputes with Oklahoma's tribal nation governments on many issues, including the McGirt Supreme Court decision, gambling compacts, and hunting and fishing license. Do you agree with how Stitt has addressed relations with tribal nations, and how would you approach such relations as a legislator?
So, no, I disagree with the way that the governor has handled the state's relationship with the tribes. He's handled it quite childishly. Part of what I would do if I was in the legislature is not vote to increase a budget for the attorney general to be able to take the tribes to court on a whim whenever the governor says that they have a problem with the tribes. We should be honoring our relationship and tribal sovereignty with the nations.
Same question to candidate Dale Curbs. Governor Stitt has notable disputes with Oklahoma's tribal nation governments on many issues, including the McGirt Supreme Court decision, gambling compacts, and hunting and fishing license. Do you agree with how Stitt has addressed relations with tribal nations, and how would you approach such relations as a legislator?
Well, the good part and the bad part is the legislative body doesn't deal with the compacts. That's done with the executive branch on that side. I can tell you that I've worked very well with the tribes that I deal with here, which is CPN, Seminole, Sac and Fox, and the Kickapoo tribes. And they're great partnerships. And don't forget the absentee tribes. I always kind of forget them a little bit, but they're still down there as well. And so we have a lot of challenges with the compacts, and that's the governor's prerogative. If you watch on the legislature and see how we handle, we're not going to get into that fight. That's his specifically on that. When we talked, my opponent brought up about funding the AG's office. There's specific reasons. McGirt was brought down from the federal side, and it was very questionable as far as jurisdiction and things along that line when it came down. So we had to get through that and understand that. It doesn't just, what the intent was, to my understanding, is just on the federal and the crime issues, some of those things. But what we started seeing was folks trying to sue the state for paying income taxes and paying their sales taxes within these areas on the eastern side of the state. So it becomes a challenge that we have to make sure that the office, whether the lawsuits are frivolous or whether they're legit lawsuits, we do have to have an attorney's budget to take care of those situations. So I'll stand behind that vote.
Thank you. Next question, we will begin with you, Dale Curbs. What is your plan to help with the agricultural education shortage in Oklahoma?
Well, that's kind of right in my wheelhouse there as the chairman of agriculture and rural development for the state of Oklahoma on the House side. It goes back to, we have a teacher shortage. We have a shortage of every type of teacher. When you talk about teachers, we hear all the time they're there for 9 months out of the year or 10 months. Well, they have training and things that go along there. But that doesn't come close to what an agriculture, an FFA teacher does. They are sun up, sun down, many times in the middle of the night. They're out there. They have to do site visits for the animals in which their kids are showing. They have to take care and make sure the well-being of those animals. They're at all the jackpot shows, all the county shows, all the state shows, every state fair. If you see an animal there, there's an ag teacher somewhere. And so we need to make sure and take care of them at the same time. You talk about a 12-month, 24/7 job. That's it right there. And so I'll stand behind them any day of the week. I'll stand behind anybody on the agricultural side specifically. Because when you talk to businesses out there, the one thing that they look at is if you see a kid that's been in an FFA or a 4-H program, they automatically get an interview in this part of the state because we know they have the hard work and the ethics that come from their teachers and from their families and doing what they're doing with their animals and their shows and their speeches and everything else. So, I mean, yes, we've got to continue to support that any which way we can in all aspects of the teacher shortage that we deal on a national level and specifically in the FFA and the agricultural programs.
Thank you. We will give the same question to candidate Gregory Harden. What is your plan to help with the agricultural education shortage in Oklahoma?
So, as I said before, when it comes to education, we need to be making it easier for everyone to be able to afford going to college, and we also need to raise all teachers' pay because, as Curb said, it's a full-time job for ag teachers with caring for the animals and all going to all the different, things in the counties and the state fair and raising their pay just as much as just along with the rest of every other teacher's pay. That'll go a long way to help that shortages and all the other subjects of teachers.
Thank you. Candidate Dale Curbs, Pottawatomie County DHS is asking for more volunteer foster homes on Facebook now. Will Governor Stitt's help task force address the additional foster families needed for more newborns?
I can't speak specifically to the governor's task force, but what I can tell you is that we've moved legislation to make sure that being able to be a foster parent is easier to be able to access and make sure that they have the support to continue to be able to be foster parents and the services that they need to do that. And we've already moved some of that legislation. It'll go into effect on November 1 of that. So Representative Hill was the champion on the floor on the House side that moved a lot of that legislation. And so I think we don't need to just talk about the baby in the womb. When we talk about abortion, we need to talk about after the fact to help take care of these with these folks that have newborns. They need a lot of support too. It doesn't just stop there. It needs to continue to work its progress.
Same question to candidate Gregory Harden. Pottawatomie County DHS is asking for more volunteer foster homes on Facebook. Will Governor Stitt's Help Task Force address the additional foster families needed for more newborns?
I also am not sure about the task force, but I do hope that they're able to find more foster homes and those are safe places for the children.
Thank you. Next question goes to candidate Gregory Harden. Do you support the governor's new mansion deal?
No, I do not. Channel 5 did a whole piece on it. I suggest everyone go watch it. It's pretty great. But no, I don't support the governor's new mansion scheme.
Short and to the point. Okay, candidate Dale Curbs, do you support the governor's new mansion deal?
Well, I'm not sure what all we talk about. I've seen that as well, and about the $6 million for the new mansion to be put on the property there at the property of the existing governor's mansion. What I do know is that the nonprofit, which is Friends of the Mansion, is who operates and manages the mansion. And the first family, when conducive, can live there. This governor has 6 children in a 4-bedroom house. It creates a challenge. I've heard everything from, well, not all the children are there. Well, guess what? I still have a bedroom for my college daughter because she comes home on the weekends. And so there are some challenges there, but the nonprofit of Friends of the Mansion is the ones that's in charge of that. The governor can't just take care of that himself. What I can tell you is that the governor, with asking his friends for contributions, obviously they've had more contributions than they've had in the past. But being as it is, that's the governor's choice, that's the governor's friend's choice on being able to contribute to a nonprofit, which is that Friends of the Mansion. So let them do what they're going to do. We'll work with that. As far
We're
as
laughing because I'm on that
Yeah.
board.
I can tell you that the legislative body gave $2 million to deal with some of the repairs of the mansion, just like we did the Capitol. So with any historic building, it has to have upkeep, has to have maintenance, whether the first family's living in it or not.
Okay, next question, and we will start with candidate Gregory Harden. Do you support the current Shawnee High School administration's handling of the Ron Arthur case?
I'm not as familiar with the specifics of the administration's handling of it, but I am glad that he's not currently teaching there.
Thank you. Same question to candidate Dale Curbs. Do you support the current Shawnee High School administration's handling of the Ron Arthur case?
I'm not going to really get into that for the simple fact that I don't know all of the parameters of it other than what I've read on Facebook or what I've seen in the cases. And considering there's still some active ongoing litigation in that, I don't think it'd be prudent for us to discuss it.
Thank you. Next question, we'll start with candidate Dale Curbs. Would you support county office and law enforcement races be nonpartisan to increase participation and choices?
Well, that's a slippery slope every which way you want to take it and talk about it. A pretty good example of that was with the judges' discussion today. They get a nice privilege of not having to worry about those wonderful things. What I can say is some of those offices that we'll pick on the sheriff. Let's pick on the sheriff specifically. The sheriff, his job is to enforce the law, not make the law. That's what's up for the parties. As far as the counties, I think the county folks need to be party affiliated because they make decisions in everyday lives that can change your family financially from what they do. So I think those kind of decisions need to be done with that kind of stuff. So I kind of answer your question, but there's a lot more discussion to be had on those party affiliation office seats.
If I'm understanding you correctly, maybe not so much with the sheriffs.
Maybe not so much with the sheriffs.
Okay, same question to candidate Gregory Harden. Would you support county office and law enforcement races be nonpartisan to increase participation and choices?
Yes, I do support them being nonpartisan not necessarily because I think it'll increase participation, but it'll at least make people have to actually think before they fill in the little bubble, because there's not going to be a letter by their name. Whenever you see the little letter by someone's name, DRL, whatever it is, you automatically shut off your brain because you have a false opinion about whatever that party affiliation is, even though you never know. Maybe you might be a Democrat, but a Republican has good ideas on certain things that have to do with the county, or vice versa. So yeah, I definitely support it being nonpartisan.
Thank you. Next question to candidate Gregory Harden. Do you support public education or a private school voucher system?
I support public education, and I do not support a voucher scheme to siphon off money from public schools into private schools. With the voucher bill that died in the legislature in the Senate and didn't get to go to the House, it would have hurt our smaller rural schools like Dale or Bethel or Earlsboro. We need to be keeping our public funds, public dollars in our public schools, and we need to strengthen our public schools, and vouchers are not going to do that.
Thank you. Candidate Dale Curbs, do you support public education over a private school voucher system?
Yes, I've proven my support for public education. In the 6 years that I've been in office, we've taken the educational budget from $2.4 billion to a $3.2 billion budget. During the COVID times, they also got an additional $2 billion that went out to schools. Our own Shawnee system over the 2 years between CARES Act money and ARPA funds received an additional $16 million just to the Shawnee public schools, not to mention the other local schools in there. My opponent is correct in the fact that he did say that the voucher that was proposed did not even make it out of the Senate, so I haven't seen a voucher plan that I would support. We did what I think is the equivalent of that in public schools for parent choice with open transfer. And open transfer seems to be working, and we need to give it a chance to work so parents have that option to choose and given where they want to take their kids.
Thank you. Next question to both candidates. We will start with Dale Curbs. What can you do to assist the city of Shawnee with homelessness?
Homelessness.
Yes.
Woo! Homeliness. The city has a challenge. As a business owner downtown, it's very frustrating. What the city has done has started a resource center. They've done some of those components. We still need to do more. Homelessness is a challenge. It's not just here, it's everywhere. It is definitely not just a Shawnee problem. It's just a new problem for Shawnee, newer, I should say. So the city has a lot of challenges, to say the least. One of the great things that's come out of some of the CARES Act money, ARPA funds that I talk about, was the city was able to tap into that to look at some grants and start utilizing some grants to start working on that problem. But there's a long way to go with homelessness. They've got a task force. They've got folks working on that to try to make sure that the homeless that are out there that are seeking help can get the help they need through the different agencies that are out there. What I would encourage, and I know there's a lot of frustration, but we have a lot of folks in this community, churches, nonprofit organizations, there's just a lot of them out there that are willing to help, but they have not all come to the same table. And that's where the challenge is. If we don't get everybody to the table and start working together, we will never take care of this problem. And that's where I think the city has got to step their game up and really start putting that effort to get everybody to the table. And it creates a challenge. Because again, like I said, I'm frustrated, just like every city commissioner's frustrated, just like the mayor's frustrated, the police department's frustrated, everybody. And we need to take care of it. But we have some homeless out there that do not want help. They do not want to abide by any sources of being able to help them get off the drugs or get off the street or do those kind of things. And those are the challenges that our city's facing right now. And they are taking that head on and continue to work in that progress. Work in that way with that homeless resource center and the folks that they've hired, but there's a lot more that needs to be done. And as they work through that methodically, any assistance and help that we can get from the state to help with that, we're going to make sure that we have that available.
Same question to candidate Gregory Harden. What can you do to assist the city of Shawnee with homelessness?
So first I'd like to say that I am proud to see the work that the city of Shawnee has done within the last few years with dealing with the homeless issue. And as far as the state goes, I'd like to see the state give the counties and cities the ability to either apply for more grants or just give them more money to be able to do things to help the homeless people within their jurisdictions.
Thank you. You've just heard from candidate Gregory Harden. This next one is for both candidates, and we will start with you, Mr. Harden. How do you plan to communicate with your constituents? How often will you hold a town hall meeting or something similar to discuss state issues with local residents?
Probably at least weekly. I'd probably do a Facebook Live or something on YouTube. I mean, with my YouTube show, I already kind of do this where I invite people who are in the legislature to talk about issues that are going on at the Capitol. I'd like to be more active on Facebook and on social media with constituents to hear what they have to think and let them know about whatever I'm doing to fix issues within the state or let them know what is going on within the state. I'd like to hold town halls, probably either monthly or bi-monthly. Informing people about what's going on and having a conversation with your constituents is probably the most important part of the job, regardless of whether or not you get a bill passed. So, yeah.
Thank you. Same question, candidate Bill Curbs. How do you plan to communicate with your constituents? How often will you hold a town hall meeting or something similar to discuss state issues with local residents?
Well, I'm always available. My cell phone number is always out there. Everybody has it. If you don't have it, you can get it from the person probably sitting next to you. I try to make sure that we're at any legislative updates that are posted or hosted to make sure that we get out there. I try to make the Pot County Republican meeting as much as possible on those things. There's just a lot that goes on. There's a lot of folks. But when they call, if I don't answer the phone, I'll get back with you. I return the emails as far as answering those. I like to talk to people in person. I'm not a social media guru. Don't plan on being it. I think the way is in person. That's how I was brought up, was to talk to folks face to face and just let's take these issues or whatever concerns that we have and deal with them. When a constituent calls my office, we take care of the problem, get them into the right, whatever their challenge is, get them to the right people to talk to, and just continue to go in that direction and make sure that they're getting taken care of if it's a state issue. Some of the times it's a city issue, we redirect them to the right city office. I meet with the city manager. We try to do breakfast once a month. I meet with the tribes, try to do breakfast once a month with those. I'll sit down and visit with anybody and try to return every single phone call that we get.
Thank you, sir. At this time, both candidates will be given 2 minutes each to wrap up, and we will start with candidate Gregory Harden.
Once again, thank PAVE for putting this on. It's been really great being a part of this, and thank you all for showing up to this. If I'm elected, I hope to be able to do more things like this where we get to talk and maybe I get to ask questions about what you guys think. So it's not just me up here talking nervously into the void. But please, regardless of whether or not you're going to vote for me or him, please get out and vote and take a friend, take a few friends, November 8th.
Thank you. At this time, you also, candidate Dale Curbs, you have also 2 minutes to wrap up.
Well, Ronnie, thank you again. PAVE, ladies, thank you so much for everything you do, both here and outside of this avenue. I know every single one of you volunteer on different organizations throughout the community. I see you out there, sometimes hand in hand, or sometimes I just get to actually enjoy what you guys are doing. So again, I commend you, and always a privilege to come to this. I'm going to continue to fight as your representative, as I have, and will continue to do. One thing that I'm very proud of just recently, I worked very hard during this special session to make sure that Shawnee, the city of Shawnee, got a standalone appropriation for the ARPA funds of $9.9 million to go towards the water projects to help this city try to get back on their feet with many years of deferred maintenance. They still have a big challenge in the city. You have a big vote coming up. I do believe that's January for that one. But prior to that, you have a big vote coming up on November 8th. There's a lot of statewide offices, including myself, is on that ballot, and I'd appreciate your continued support to bring everything that we possibly can back to our community and make sure that we keep our state on the right track and on the right trajectory of moving forward. Thank you.
That ends our forum this evening. We would like to thank all of our candidates for coming and participating. Also, we would like to thank the audience for your participation also. We end with this every forum, our favorite saying, democracy is not a spectator sport. Exercise your right, go out and vote. And you just gave them the date. Thank you.